Hey everybody, it's Sometimes Talk. Welcome. I hope everybody's having a good day. A good morning. Um, I have been super busy working on this new documentary that I'm doing. I'm sorry that I have not been going live the past few days. It's been about 5, 6 days. So for that, I do apologize. It's not that I haven't been watching, it's that I just didn't feel that there was any updates or anything really newsworthy to bring to you because I'm not going to just bring you information I don't feel is important. I'm not going to sit here and say that every meeting the elite have is the peace plan, the peace treaty that the Antichrist is going to bring about. I'm not going to tell you every next rapture date on the calendar, and go in that cycle. I'm always just going to shoot it to you straight, And again, I'm sorry I've been busy. I'm probably at this point with the new documentary. I'm probably about 2 to 3 weeks out, possibly sooner if I work really really hard at it. All the speeches are written. All the speeches are recorded. I'm just putting together B-roll, putting together music, things like that. Touching things up. So that's how close I am to getting the new documentary done. Jumping ahead to the news here, there's been a few new countries that have declared an epidemic, some not formally, but Spain authorities have declared a flu epidemic after exceeding the epidemic threshold. Cases have doubled weekly in some regions, with over 200 cases per 100,000 inhabitants reported in recent weeks. Again, last time France, we talked about France, 5, 6 days ago, that they've confirmed that their country is in the grip of a flu epidemic. The United Kingdom has not formally declared an epidemic, but the UK is facing a major surge described as a worst case scenario. And I'm going to show you that article here in a moment. But with flu hospitalizations up to 55% in a single week in cases 3 times higher than last year. Experts warn it could become the worst flu season in a long time, putting it effectively in an epidemic phase. So that's just kind of, not formally declared, but it's there and it's getting there with America too, especially in some states. And I'm going to show you that in a bit. um, Wallace and Futuna, French overseas territories in the Pacific, declared an influenza A outbreak this December, with confirmed cases leading to an official alert. There are other notable flu outbreaks going on right now. Kazakhstan and Vietnam, several severe outbreaks linked to the H3N2 Hong Kong strain. That's the China flu that we've been talking about, with global reports noting sharp increases. I mean, like, in all, it's doing a moonshot. Australia recorded a record flu season so far, influencing Northern Hemisphere predictions. The broader Europe, like Italy and Germany, has rising cases, with the World Health Organization noting increased activity across the continent. And the United States, activity is rising. The CDC, I'll be honest with you, I'm going to say this, that the CDC really seems to be playing down what's happening in America. I know I know tons of people across the states, and I've literally, it's like every other person I know is sick right now. Some of them really bad, some of them not so bad, but you know, definitely an uptick. And there's been and I actually just in doing the research and putting some things together, there's been other epidemics that have been declared in 2025 that are unrelated to the flu that I didn't know. The Democratic Republic of Congo declared an Ebola outbreak and a cholera outbreak, declared the worst in 25 years this December. So cholera and Ebola in the DRC. Ethiopia has a Marburg virus outbreak that's ongoing. The Cook Islands has dengue. Mauritania and Senegal, Rift Valley fever outbreaks, and the ongoing global mpox clade I think it's LB or 1B, in countries like Namibia and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So even though the World Health Organization lifted its public health emergency it seems to still be going on, is what they're saying. So, anyways, as of December 30th, 2025, at least 14. So we went from 11 to 14 U.S. states have reported school closures or shifts to remote learning due to flu outbreaks and related illnesses during the ongoing 2025-2026 flu season. These decisions are typically made at the district or school level with when absenteeism reaches critical levels, like 20 to 30% of students and staff affected. So you can expect everything I'm about to name is at that level. So it says here, Alabama, unspecified schools and districts statewide closed temporarily due to flu related absences. Um, Georgia, uh, Polk School District, statewide facilities, including schools in Cedartown and Rockmart. You know what? I would love to live in a place like Rockmart. That sounds so cool. Let's go down to Rockmart. Sorry, I have to joke around a little bit. It's junk news. So, all schools closed for at least 2 days, um, due to 761 students affected by flu and norovirus, plus staff shortages for deep cleaning. Indiana, unspecified schools closed due to flu and related absences. Iowa, there's a new one. Moulton Udell School District, and I don't know how to say any of these names. I don't live there, so sorry if I botch it. Appanoose County near Centerville canceled classes, due to 30% of students and staff ill with flu. Sioux City schools closed due to illnesses, including flu in Polk County. Why does everybody have a Polk County? It's like every state has Polk County. Polk County schools closed due to high illness rates, including flu. Kentucky, Oldham County School District, which is the Louisville area, closed due to over 1,700 students and 200 staff and 15 bus drivers absent from widespread flu illness. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild. Louisiana Academy of Collaborative Education in Monroe, early closure due to flu cases. Additional unspecified districts reported closures to allow recovery from attendance dips amid flu surges, and this is obviously before the Christmas vacation or whatever. Michigan, two unspecified local schools, likely in the Toledo area near Ohio border, closed for the remainder of a week due to widespread flu. Detroit area, um, hospitals noting surges potentially impacting schools. Minnesota, Math and Science Academy in Woodbury, Twin Cities metro area switched to virtual learning, before the winter break, due to flu outbreak affecting nearly 25% of students. At least one additional unnamed district switched to remote learning last week due to rapid flu spread. Statewide, 35 school outbreaks have been reported, and that's just Minnesota alone. This thing seems to be growing and growing and growing and becoming something. Missouri, Villa Dutchence Catholic School, Frontenac near St. Louis, closed, after multiple students fell ill. Multiple districts in southeast and southwest Missouri closed due to flu and other illnesses. And then there's additional unspecified districts announced closures. Ohio, St. Hilary School, Fairlawn near Akron, temporarily shut down for a week due to 20% of students and 15% of staff out with flu. Coventry local schools, which is Northeast Ohio, closed due to bus driver shortages from seasonal illness, including flu. Two additional local schools closed due to flu. Oklahoma City and Edmond schools closed on a Friday, mid-December, amid flu outbreaks for cleaning and to halt spread. Marietta Public Schools and Lindsay Public Schools closed or shifted to online learning, remote learning, due to flu outbreaks. Additional schools statewide moved to virtual learning due to surges in flu cases among students, and that was Oklahoma. This is Tennessee. Lebanon Special School District, Middle Tennessee, closed for a week due to widespread illness, including flu. Houston County Schools closed for a week due to widespread illness. Lincoln County Schools closed for a week due to widespread illness. Dixon County Schools closed on a Friday due to high flu cases. Additional unspecified schools temporarily closed or went virtual learning, remote learning. Texas, Godley Independent School District in Godley, North Texas, closed for 30% attendance drop. 650 students, 60 staff sick with flu. Comanche Independent School Districts, North Texas, closed for flu surges. Morgan Independent School District closed for flu surges. Additional districts reported temporary closures amid statewide spikes. And then in Virginia, multiple unspecified schools closed in the last week of mid-December due to flu outbreaks and staff shortages. 3 schools in Roanoke Valley, due to flu-like illnesses, have closed. And the flu activity remains high nationwide. It's funny because, I saw a report earlier that the CDC put out, and they're saying, oh, it's relatively low. My butt. But it says here the CDC is reporting moderate to high levels in many states. So, it's just, man, they just can't get their story straight, can they? It makes you wonder why. Give me a moment here. And I'm just kind of going through this here. As of December 30th, 2025, no U.S. states have formally declared a flu epidemic for the ongoing flu season using that exact terminology, but New York has issued a declaration that influenza is prevalent statewide, which is a public health designation indicating epidemic level spread and triggering specific measures like mask requirements in healthcare facilities. This was announced on December 2nd. We've talked about that. After cases surged beyond seasonal baselines, other states are experiencing or discussing high flu activity that meets or exceeds epidemic thresholds per the CDC metrics, but without explicit declarations. So the states are talking about it right now. They're talking about declaring an epidemic in multiple states. Colorado, Louisiana, New Jersey, and New York are reporting very high levels of influenza-like illnesses, with experts noting surges that could qualify as epidemic phases. 17 jurisdictions, including 14 states, and also not and this is also Puerto Rico, Washington D.C. or Washington State, and Washington D.C. and New York City have reported spikes in flu activity, with discussions among health officials about potential epidemic or worrying surges. States like Louisiana are seeing early peaks, while others are bracing for worse conditions amid a new subclade K variant of the flu, the H3N2. It's pretty much the same states for the most part that are declaring mask mandates. California, New Jersey, New York. Facilities in Indiana and Ohio have implemented visitor restrictions and masking in select hospitals. So now it's Indiana and Ohio. North Carolina's Horizon Health requiring masks in patient-facing areas. So yeah, it seems to be becoming a thing. Give me a moment here. I'm going to try to bring this up here. All right, so this is the Herald Tribune. Super flu skyrockets over holidays. Didn't I tell you? I mean, it's obvious that would happen. If there's a sickness going around, people are going to meet up for Christmas and all that stuff. But it's like, it just fits so neatly with the whole, SPARS pandemic scenario that we've been talking about. You know what I mean? Give me a moment here. A new form of the flu, which is highly contagious and aggressive, is sweeping the nation. A mutation of influenza A, H3N2 called subclade K, Uh, a new influenza strain dubbed the super flu. Now they're just calling it the super flu. Has surged across the country during the holiday travel season. The CDC estimates the flu has caused at least, this is at least, and this is the new numbers have not come out yet. The new numbers, and I'm going to report on that in a little bit, but the new numbers are supposed to come out on January 2nd. That's when we're to find out, what's happened this past week. This is, almost 2 weeks ago, the information that we're getting right now. But it said this is 2 weeks ago that the CDC estimates the flu has caused at least 4.6 million illnesses and 49,000 hospitalizations so far this season. They're saying around 1,900 deaths. Um, a new influenza strain has surged across the country during an already busy travel season, with experts worried that low vaccination rates could lead to significantly brutal flu season. It's not the low vaccination rates. A bunch of people that I know went out and got it. I ain't going to, but it's not that it's not happening. It's that there's something going on, and they're saying this. They've said in multiple reports. Like I could just Google it in front of you guys that they're saying that the subclade K isn't covered by the flu shot, but they're still telling you to go get it, even when 90% of what the hospitalizations and things like that are the subclade K H3N2. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else in here. Fever, cough, headaches, runny nose, fatigue, muscle aches, and chills. Sounds a lot like COVID to me, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound a lot like COVID? The muscle aches and stuff. Yeah, and there's like tons of people that I know that are like sick, not getting any better, blah blah blah. Give me a moment here. I'm gonna share a new page here. That was not the one I was looking for. I'm sorry. Says right here, and this is in England, the NHS facing worst case scenario December amid super flu surge. This was on the 11th of December, almost 20 days ago. Flu hospitalization, because they haven't come out with the new numbers yet. We're waiting on that. New numbers, new numbers. Flu hospitalizations have surged by more than half in just 1 week, plunging the NHS into a worst case scenario situation for December. New figures revealed today, and this was just the other day, or yeah, 20 days ago. An average of 2,660 patients per day were in a hospital bed with flu last week, the highest ever for this time of year, and up 55% on last week. And up 55% up. That makes no sense. And up 55% up. Someone doesn't know how to type, or I don't know how to read, one of the two. On last week, it means there are enough flu patients each day to fill more than 3 whole hospital trusts. NHS chiefs have warned the total has already increased sharply since the week covered by the data, with no peak in sight. With no peak in sight. The number of norovirus patients in hospital beds has also risen by 35%. No, wait, it's up 35% up. Sorry. To an average of 354 each day last week as winter viruses start to engulf hospitals. It comes as demand for A&Es and ambulance services is already soaring. New monthly figures today show A&E attendances were a record for November. I thought this has come out in December. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, okay. They're just going back a little bit. For November, at least 2.35 million and more than 30,000 higher than November 2024, while there were 48,814 more ambulance incidents compared to last year. Maybe that's because all the stabbings of the replacement migration happening. Sorry. But it's just absolutely terrible what's happening there with how they're being invaded in the UK. The record-breaking demand comes with thousands of residents, doctors set to go on strike from the seven. Oh, so now they're blaming it on the doctors. So yeah, this is even just a little bit old. Like I said, it's the 11th of December, and it's up that much. And it's hard. I will say this. Give me a moment here. I'm gonna try to find this here. Trying to find where it said. Oh yeah, never mind. Okay, so week 51 data that I've already shown you. I showed you that last live that we did from week 51. Originally expected on Friday, December 26th. This data was delayed and published on Tuesday, December 30th, 4 days late from what they said that they were going to publish the new data from the CDC. And now we're on week 52, and this report covering the week ending December 27th. So we've already passed that. We're already getting into that next week. So we're always behind in data. Just understand that. The data, when it comes out, we're always behind. Whenever we find out the new data, it's still a week behind. It's scheduled to be released on Friday, January 2nd, 2026. So, and last time it was delayed 4 days. It was delayed 4 days. So if that tells you anything, give me a moment here. Whoops. I forgot to put something on the screen here. Sorry about that. All right, so flu season worsens with new subclade K variant causing rise in severe cases nationwide. And this is in Pensacola, Florida. A family in Hueytown, Alabama is mourning. Oh, that was from out. Man, they just need to. I don't know why they do that kind of crap. So, Pensacola, Florida reported that a family in Hueytown, Alabama is mourning the loss of their 11-year-old son, Jace Watkins, who died Saturday evening after battling a severe case of the flu. This comes as the nation is seeing a bad flu season getting worse each day. Healthcare experts say there's a new flu variant going around called subclade K. So, I mean, reports indicate Watkins first showed flu-like symptoms on December 18th. Just 2 days later, he was rushed to the hospital in Birmingham after he had a seizure and stopped breathing. You want to know what's funny too? I'm not gonna lie. I actually have been waking up in the middle of the night struggling to breathe, and I'm not sick. I don't feel sick, at least. But like I've multiple nights in a row. Some nights will be better than others, but I'll wake up literally like struggling to breathe, feeling like my lungs aren't working properly. So I could definitely use prayers on that. But um, man, this sounds a lot like what Decoding China reported, how there's kids that are getting it, and in 24 hours, they're in the hospital dying. So, there's so much going on right now. So much going on right now. Give me a moment here. Trying to shuffle these articles around so that way I don't report on the same ones. Okay, yeah. All right. His aunt Sabrina Parsons shared her grief on a social media post. Jace never even got to open his Christmas gifts. That's really sad. That makes me want to cry. What do we even do now? This will forever weigh over our family. Jesus, be with the Watkins family, Lord, in Jesus' mighty name. Please, Lord, comfort them in their time of grief and the loss of this young man. It says here that doctors warn this flu season is worse than it has been in years. That's particularly due to what they're calling a new super flu. I again, and I've said this before publicly, I'm going to say it again publicly, that I don't know what is causing this because there's some people that don't believe in certain things that you and I have to space this word out a little bit so that way I don't get hit by AI viruses. There's certain people that don't acknowledge that stuff. Then there's other people that think it's frequency, from towers and whatnot, with the different G's. I think we're working out and I've proven this so that anybody just watching, if you haven't watched a lot, I've proven on my show that they are already using 6 and 7G. It's just not available to you, and you won't get 6G until the year 2030, aka Agenda 2030. That's when you'll get 6G finally. But they're going to surpass us. They're going to be light years ahead of us in technology, and they're already saying that they're already working on 8G. All right, I've proven this. It's a fact. It's not speculation. It's fact. So if it is frequency, it's very plausible. Okay, and honestly, I'm one of those people that kind of leans in that direction. I have a person in the live chat right now. I won't say who they are, but they get hit with frequencies on a constant basis, and as do I. So if you're one of those people, invest in Faraday cloth and fabrics and get really handy at making stuff to cover yourself. But yeah, so this blue thing's spreading, and regardless of whatever's causing it, uh, I'm not going to speculate on that. We all have our own opinions as to that because some people just believe it's straight up flu. Some people believe it's frequency. Some people believe it's because of the jabby jabby. Other people believe it's because of, you know, I don't know, little green monsters running around. I don't know. But the point is that something is happening, and it's not about how it happened. It's about the end game that's coming. And boy, they went over their end game in this pretty well. And I suggest, just go to Google, type in the SPARS pandemic 2025 to 2028, and type in the PDF after that, the SPARS pandemic 2025 to 2028 PDF, and download this. Have your own copy, go through it, and look and see what the world's going to be like. I'm talking George Orwell's 1984 dystopian tyranny crap going on here. And it's going to lead into other stuff too that the Rockefeller Foundation has put out and whatnot. But the whole idea was that Christians, they didn't like the jabby jabby, but they went and did mission work over in Asia. It always comes from Asia. It's always Asia. It's always Asia. Isn't it funny? And China's just downright collapsing right now. Like, I don't know if anybody's noticed, but China's literally falling apart. One thing I will say is, and I'd have to find it. I'm not going to sit here and dig through it on the live, but I will tell you, and you can trust me that I'm telling you the truth, is that they released a new Illuminati card game back in 2020. It's called Illuminati 2020. And it's a subset from the new version of the Illuminati card game that they put out. And so they have the Illuminati second version, and then they have Illuminati alternate realities, I think is what it's called, alternate realities, something along them lines. And then they came out with Illuminati 2020, and you can't even find Illuminati 2020 anymore. But when you bought the new, and it's not new, they're a little harder to find now, they don't make them anymore, but they redid the original 1980s Illuminati cards, which is the little mini cards I've shown. I actually did a video on the Illuminati card game, going through the whole entire history of the Illuminati card game and everything to do with it, where the Illuminati card game came from, the people that were behind it from the very beginning. And it actually started with books, believe it or not. But I go through and I show you each and every set. I did leave out Illuminati 2020 because it was a bagged set. It came in a clear bag and it just had a pamphlet and it said Illuminati 2020. The year 2020 was very significant for them. But when you went and you bought the little pocket boxes of the reproduction of the original Illuminati card game, the 1980s cards, they gave you a promo card. They gave you a promo card for the new second version of the Illuminati card game that came out. And that was, it's like I think it's called like the Fall of Hong Kong or Hong Kong Falls or something like that. And it's got that Chinese dragon, parade, and everything's just falling apart in the card. And now this is happening. China's falling apart, at the seams. But anyways, getting off track, I digress here. The scenario that we're talking about here starts with Christians that are anti-jabby jabby, and they go over to Asia. That's why I guess I brought up China, but it's always Asia where this stuff comes from, right? And I'll tell you, a lot of the globalists, they live in China, and they're like protected in China. George Soros, I remember seeing a video a long time ago where he has a house in China that he lives at. There's actually a lot of other people that live in China too that are globalists, and they're protected by the CCP, believe it or not. But anyways, so they're kind of obsessed with China, but a lot of stuff comes out of China. China's willing to do a lot of nasty stuff in the name of globalism, and especially to their own people. I remember back during the COVID-19 era, they were welding doors shut and literally, bagging up cats and dogs for euthanization. I mean, just absolute crazy stuff. Like China is just ruthless. And anyways, but these people, they go over to Asia, they bring back the St. Paul acute respiratory syndrome, and they're Baptists, of course. They're terrible Christians. They come back to Minnesota, and they end up saying, that these people are the reason that the St. Paul acute respiratory syndrome, which is where SPARS comes from, begins. But then later on, they start to warn, like, oh, things are going to spread during Thanksgiving and Black Friday. And, I could go through and read it, but I'm not going to, but you get the idea. Then later on in the article, they talk about, was it this? Yeah, they talk about right here, about, it says here, there was widespread concerns in public health circles that travel over the Christmas and New Year's holidays would spark a global pandemic. A global pandemic. Now, I want to have this right. Let me look this up real quick. So the top stories, and if you go to Google, here, I'll just show you real quick. Hold on 1 second. The subclade K is also called the K flu. It's K flu, super flu, H3N2, all the same thing. All right, but if you type in K flu, the top story pops up right here. Super flu variant of H3N2 influenza A spreads globally. First it was locally, now it's globally. So I thought that was kind of interesting, to say the least. That, kind of, I'm not saying I called it, because I don't really want to call something like that. Yeah, absolutely. Laps a lot. Chemtrails as well, very possible. Anyway, yeah, and the fog too. The chemical fog, and the drone spraying crap, and all this stuff. Absolutely. All very plausible explanations as to where this is all coming from, but it seems to me that just something's brewing. Anyways, so yeah, that's that. And they have that Agenda 2030 that they're working towards. And again, like I said, I don't think it's so much about the sickness, or even how the sickness is beginning, or whatever. I think it's about the end game. And before, I've shown this video before. It's a 6-minute video. It's a little lengthy, but I think to give people a picture of what is going to happen leading into Agenda 2030. And the thing is we've talked about, I actually played 2 videos here. Agenda 2030 is, they want to have it implemented by the year 2030. Not, it's like all of a sudden 2030 is going to hit and the world's going to be a different place. They want to have this done by the year 2030. And so I'm going to play this video real quick, and then I'm going to play another video showing you what it's going to be like once Agenda 2030 hits. So here's this video predicting, this is the World Economic Forum's video predicting what's going to happen before and on the year 2030. I wanted to give you this, kind of give you a picture, because I want you to take what's happening right now and what's brewing, and remember that they locked us down in a March in, I think it was 2020. Okay, they locked us down in March. All right, there's a lot between now and March that can happen. Okay, there's a whole lot. I mean, now we literally got 3 months. We literally have basically 3 months. We'll say 2.5 months. We basically have 2.5 months until we even get to that point. And look what's already happening now. And I'm telling you, and I've shown you the numbers, how they're worse than the pandemic levels. I've shown you they're worse. I've proven that. Go back to the last live I did. But let's watch this video on the World Economic Forum's predictions for the year 2030. So it just gives you a rough gist of what it's gonna, what their predictions are for around the year 2030. And it's really indicative of this right here. And it said everything you have will be rented and delivered by drones. And look on the outside of this soccer ball, all the different drones with the cords dropping stuff, delivering stuff. You see the robot at the bottom of the soccer ball, next to the syringe needle at the bottom, carrying a package, delivering. You see the economy dropping and bottoming out. And that's another thing is I want to look this up real quick. Give me a moment here. Hold on. Yeah. So, anyways, the economy is just dropping, out on this paper between these two swords. Trump, looks like Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, uh, possibly George Soros or Benjamin Netanyahu. You have Zelensky between the ship and the tank. I mean, it just goes to show. Then you have the brain, which has the Neuralink antenna. Obviously, it has microchips in it, and it's controlling video games. So they're going to make it to where with your brain you can control video games. This is for 2026. This picture, you have the 250th anniversary cake for America in the center there. You have a fist rising up with the handcuff on it. That's a lockdown. That's lockdown. All right. That's what it symbolizes to me, anyways. What I take from it. Then the American flag being covered up by the fist. So there's the American flag. Patriotism is going to be covered up by revolution, and then there's going to be a clampdown on that. You see the vaccines. There's two different ones, so I'm wondering if there's going to be a new sickness that's going to emerge amidst the super flu, the subclade K H3N2. There's ice cubes melting. That's their thing for global warming or whatever. Obviously, war is breaking out. Missiles are coming out from behind the cake. I wonder if there's going to be a nuclear standoff, like what we had with Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, and all that stuff. Okay. Uh, then you have this ship, shipping uh, has been converted into a military vessel. All right, that's pretty interesting to say the least. And then you have all these like little pills everywhere. I mean, there are pills everywhere scattered across this, different colored pills, capsules, tablets, and then all the money, there's all this little blue money and whatnot floating around everywhere. I really think things are about to get rough, people. I know that people want it to be easy peasy lemon squeezy before Jesus comes and gets us, but he told us that it wouldn't actually be easy peasy lemon squeezy before he comes to get us. Even off if you look at the tank on the right, just at the tip of the barrel, if you look at the edge of the ball, there's a fire there. So more wildfires. There's smoke everywhere. Just lots of stuff, man. It's real packed in there. It's like a Where's Waldo of chaos. And I just notice all these little things more and more. But yeah, so anyways, I think that is relatively pretty indicative of where we're headed as a nation, as a globe. This is obviously a kickoff. I don't know if it has anything to do with the World Cup, but I think it has everything to do with a kickoff. Like they're saying, 2026 is the kickoff for this implementation for Agenda 2030. That's honestly what I think it is. I'm just giving it to you the way I sees it. All right. So, with that being said, all right, I'm going to show you this video of what it's going to be like in the year 2030. What they're saying, and I'm talking like 15-minute cities, all that stuff. They're saying that this is 2035, but you got to understand that, once 2030 hits, Agenda 2030 hits, they're going to start to implement all this stuff. They'll have what takes to bring us to Agenda 2030 done before 2030, but then it's going to take a little time once 2030 gets here to implement everything that they want to do. But this is what the world will be like in the next few years.
regulations to increase funding for public awareness. All cars will be required to have advanced climate control systems.
Thank you, Tom.
How did we get here?
Good morning, California. We are experiencing another wave of brownouts as concerns grow over China's new coal power plant. Citizens are urged to do their part and remember our responsibility to Earth.
At first, I wanted to do what I could. Be a team player. Okay, you've got 2 minutes of hot water. Think you can be quick? Ready, set, go! They told us it wouldn't last long, and that we were in this together.
Dad?
Yeah?
Do you think we'll be able to fly out to Grandma's for Christmas this year?
Yeah, maybe. But probably just have to FaceTime her.
Okay.
There are still echoes of the world I remember, but they feel distant, like memories from another life.
Mr. Williams, in preparation for your meeting with the chairman this evening, I think it would be wise to set a good example. We wouldn't want to miss hitting our ESG score before your big evening now, would we?
They say, in order to serve the greater good, we need to make more sacrifices.
Okay. Let me just say a few words, if I may. We need to say thank you to Chadwick for almost securing something.
Of course, David, I hear great things about you. I'm sure they're just words. They don't mean anything. I'm kidding, of course.
And Jessica, thank you. Pearl, well
But
done.
when I look around, the we that does the sacrificing isn't them. It's us.
Dinner was nice. If we cut back on emissions, maybe we could do something like that for your birthday?
Thank you.
Yeah. Sure you're okay biking home?
Oh yeah, my score's gone way up since I stopped driving.
Updated federal mandates are going to be published later this month, and employers are scrambling to keep up. So later tonight, we'll discuss those new...
I live in a world that is constantly giving me feedback.
Especially your home AC usage, as fears of brownouts are still...
And I want to leave it better for him. But most days, I'm just left wondering, how did we get here?
Power allowance depleted.
I think you guys get the picture, though. I think it's very clear where they're taking us. And we've already seen the decrease in flights and, companies getting shut down all over the place. Like, it's all indicative of Atlas Shrugged and Rand's Atlas Shrugged. And boy, I'll tell you, anybody who's actually watched this channel knows that I quite frequently bring up my brother, Doc Marquis. It's because, and I'm trying not to get emotional here, but he was such a huge influence in my life, such a huge influence. For over a 10-year period, I got to spend time with this man and pick his brain, and he would always tell me, all these different things. And I remember us having a conversation about Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. And it's funny too, because I don't know if any of you remember John Todd, but John Todd said the exact same thing. And Doc was telling me that Ayn Rand was a mistress of one of the Rothschilds. Not a lot of people know that. He would know that. He had that insider information. He's a very intelligent man. Actually, there's not a lot of people that could keep pace with Doc Marquis. Anyways, and he had told me that Ayn Rand was under Illuminati orders to write Atlas Shrugged. Here, let me bring it up here. Hold on. Give me a moment here. I'll share this. But she was under Illuminati orders to write Atlas Shrugged. This is the version I actually have right here. But they get much, much older than that. But yeah, Atlas would be that god supposedly holding up the world, and he shrugged the world off his shoulders. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to do this real quick. Give me a moment here. Because I'm trying to go somewhere with this here. I'm going to show you a trailer, but I want to say this first before I show you the trailer, that in Atlas Shrugged, everything, all of an industry and all that stuff, it comes to a complete halt. All right, that's a huge part of it. But I asked Doc, I remember, just like yesterday, I could literally hear his voice. I said, Doc, why did they have her write Atlas Shrugged? And it was a very simple answer. He had said to tell the world what they're going to do to them.
Midas Mulligan. Who's asking? Someone who knows what it's like to work for himself and not let others feed off the profits of his energy. Who are you?
We found a note.
What did it say?
It said, who is John Galt?
One of the worst railroad accidents in recent history.
A Taggart transcontinental freight train has crashed and derailed.
I have to get the Rio Norte completely re-railed in 9 months, and I'm gambling your new metal can do what you say it can.
I'm staking my business on it.
Nobody's used Reardon metal. Why do we have to be the first? Well, they say you're intractable, you're ruthless, your only goal is to make money.
My only goal is to make money.
Yeah, but you shouldn't say it.
If we're going to bring Reardon down, we should do it from the inside.
I am placing a moratorium on all railroad bonds.
We can't afford to allow the expansion of a company which produces too much.
A federal tax will be applied to all steel mills.
They are not getting my metal.
We'll find a way to fix this.
You and your brother try to undermine me or go to the government.
Maybe you should let me explain.
Maybe you should let me finish speaking.
It's a battle. What battle? I don't fight to disarm. Well, they have a weapon against you. What is wrong with the world?
Well, I ask useless questions. How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? Who is John Galt?
In order to save my family's business, I'm going to have to abandon it. I'm going to take a leap and start my own company.
And what are you going to call this new line of yours?
The John Galt line.
We're not going to allow you to run that train.
You can do whatever you want with your men, Mr. Brady, but that train will run if I have to drive the damn thing myself.
What we're doing, my metal, your railway, it's us who move the world.
If you double-cross me, I will destroy you. To a successful business partnership.
I'll drink to that.
And so that was the first one. And I'm just going to show you the second one, might as well.
To protect the security of our fellow citizens. For the duration of the national emergency, that the statutes of Directive 10-289 shall remain in effect.
Sound familiar?
All copyrights shall be transferred to the federal government. All wages and other forms of income are hereby frozen.
It's all happening so fast.
I won't be a slave.
You say you and Henry Reardon founded a device harvesting limitless energy without fossil fuels.
We're so close to having something they won't be able to fight.
They will try like hell to stop you.
Ms. Taggart, I think everyone agrees that capitalism doesn't work.
You don't understand the power they have. The government takes what they want and taxes what they leave behind.
One of these days, you're gonna have to decide which side you're on.
It's obvious that drastic measures have to be taken.
If you saw Atlas, knees buckling, arms trembling, but still trying to hold up the world with a last of a strength, what would you tell him to do?
Where are they? Anyone who could make a difference.
I'm sitting next to him.
I've only got one thing left worth fighting for. This.
If you feel you have the right to use force against me, bring guns.
Time is running out.
Who or what is John Galt? Is he even a man?
Or an idea.
So we'll just go and do the third one here. This is the third one right here. This one's interesting.
Don't move. Miss Taggart, you're hurt.
Do I know you?
I think you do.
Where are we? Am I a guest or a prisoner?
The choice is yours. You're the first person to come to this valley by accident. Stay for 1 month, and at the end, you can choose to stay or go. Ladies and gentlemen, Taggart Transcontinental. Dagny, we are on strike. This is a strike of our minds.
You quit. All of you did.
We had to withdraw.
But what about what you left behind? Unlike you, I don't believe in abandoning the fight. When's the first time you saw me?
I remember that well. You were standing on the Taggart passenger platform. If your shawl had slipped any further down, you'd have been standing there naked. I want you here. But you could choose to stay or go.
Sorry about that.
As long as I am alive, I will not desert a battle that is mine to fight.
When you need me, I'll be the easiest man in the world to find.
Millions of people are sick and tired of the endless wars, the poverty that is coming, the attack of our civil liberties.
You are aware we are in an emergency situation.
We're about to have a disaster on our hands.
Millions of people have to be sacrificed in order to save the whole.
I won't be a part of this.
You're not thinking about going back to that hell, are you? Going to be riots. If I go back, it'll be to get the only thing I want for myself. You have to make them think that you are on their side. They need me alive, but they wouldn't think twice about hurting you. To everyone within the range of my voice, this is John Galt speaking. Those who have left you are eager to build a world of freedom. No, it's the beginning.
So I think you get the picture of what Atlas Shrugged is about. It's about the collapse of society and the beginning of a new golden age. Sound familiar? In Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, John Galt represents the ideal man. All right, that Da Vinci's, you got the man, what I'm talking about. Everybody's seen that picture. Everybody's seen it. But he's a brilliant inventor, philosopher, and individualist who embodies reason, self-reliance, and rational self-interest. A lot of self there. A lot of selfishness. All right. It says, leading to a strike of the world's productive minds against a collectivist society that exploits them. The phrase, who is John Galt, signifies despair and the collapse of society, but also evolves into a defiant cry for individual agency, symbolizing the powerful force of human intellect and achievement when freed from government control. That's the way that they're going to deliver the collapse to everybody. Okay. They want a revolution, just like they showed you in this picture here. See the fist? They want a revolution. They want that defiance. All right. If you notice, and I've talked about what the symbolism on the dollar bill means, but there's all these 13s, and it actually represents depravity and rebellion. All right, depravity and rebellion against God. All right, this is called humanism, what we're speaking of here. John Galt embodies the humanistic mindset. All right, and what they want is they want the old world to burn, so that way the new world could come up through it. All right, and it'll be through the chaos that you're seeing here. That's the way that the world's going to burn. All right, that's going to be war, it's going to be famine, it's going to be pestilence, it's going to be depopulation, it's going to be a culling, culling, culling. So this is where the world's headed. All right, whatever sickness this is, and however it got to where it's at now and where it's going, is leading to this. This is the end game. This is the goal. All right, and I know that it's obvious here that the soccer player, it could represent the World Cup and some symbolism with the World Cup, but I really think that this actually represents the kickoff of the agenda to get us to Agenda 2030. All right, they got 4 years to do it, and that's a very short time to complete their goals. They're going to have to start moving really fast. And so I think that this whole super flu, subclade, KH3N2, mumbo jumbo, whatever it is just another path, another delivery system to implement their control measures that are coming. And they are completely George Orwellian 1984 tyrannical dystopian society. All right. And they've been showing us that society in like the movies like Chappie and District 9 and Songbird and all this stuff, The Last of Us, all this dystopian society where you have walled-in cities, and you're eating crickets and you're eating bread, and you work an entire day, for that loaf of bread and for that container of crickets. And everybody's starving, and it's famine, and it's pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places, wars, rumors of wars, nation rides against nation, kingdom against kingdom. The Bible told us thousands of years ago. Over 2,000 years ago, the Bible told us what was going to be going down, and it seems to be pretty accurate, doesn't it? So, I am just trying to warn people of what's coming, that this isn't going to be some cakewalk. Any day, the rapture can happen, 110%, but I don't think it's going to be easy getting there. And I want to prepare people mentally, emotionally, spiritually, especially more than anything. And in speaking on that, Jesus is the way to prepare spiritually. Being filled with the Holy Spirit is the way to being prepared spiritually, and being in constant contact and communion with God through his son, Jesus Christ, is the way to be honing in on the Spirit. People say all the time, have your houses in order, your body's in order, your mind in order, your spirit in order. And you need, most of all, the Spirit is above all else. Everything that happens in the spiritual realm then begins to manifest in the physical realm. That's the reality of it. Okay? The Spirit is actually more alive, more real than what we see all around us. Okay? And so my point is, all right, is that trust in Jesus with your whole heart. Give it over to him. All the stuff, all the baggage you've been carrying for so long, just give it over to him. It's so much easier to go about life than to carry all this weight thinking that you're Atlas with the world on your shoulders. It's not possible. Only one man, God come in the flesh, Jesus Christ, has been able to take the weight of the world on his shoulders. And that's Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, our Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And now it says in the Bible, those who ever believe in him in their heart and confess with their mouth, that's how you're saved. So if you believe that Jesus is God come in the flesh, that he died and he rose again, and that his blood that was shed covers your sins, and that all those sins are forgiven through him, all you need to do is repent and ask him for forgiveness. Give him your heart, and try to live a Christian life. All right. And people don't like to hear that. They don't like to hear that one. But I'm going to say that one because that's an important part. I think repentance goes hand in hand with grace. I really do. Okay. God is going to give us, forgiveness and grace, but we need to do our part. And we need to have a repentant heart and humble ourselves before the King, not come in it pridefully. Okay. But it says, if you believe in your heart that Jesus is God come in the flesh, that he died and shed his blood to cover your sins, that he rose again and ascended into heaven, is coming again for his people. If you believe that in your heart and you say that with your mouth right now, you are saved. You are saved, and have faith. Because every single person in the Bible that was healed by Jesus Christ, he literally said to him, by your faith, you're healed. Because you believe in Jesus and you know he covers you, and you wouldn't ask him to do anything for you, not thinking he's going to fulfill that promise, to fulfill that prayer. I'm telling you, it's your faith that's going to carry you through. All right. And ask God to give you strength and faith. Ask God to perfect your faith. Ask God to build your faith. All the time do I go through these faith building exercises that, like, when I didn't think it was possible, God comes through for me. I just think that's a brilliant, amazing thing, the way God just handles stuff. And this super flu and all this stuff that's going on right now, and how things are incrementally getting worse, it doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter. None of it matters. It's all about Jesus. Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life. If you want to know the truth, find Jesus, because I'll tell you this, and I have researched it. I have dug so deep, and you look at all the world religions, and they all come full circle back into Kabbalah. And I can even show you in a Masonic book. I'm not even ready to be live, but I feel I need to do this. It's not a beauty contest here. I'll tell you that right now. We're about to prove that. Hold on. I want to look this up in this book real quick. Give me a moment here. Hold on. Yeah, I'll just prove it to you right now. So I'm going to turn my camera on for a moment here. Hold on. Show you how messy my hair is. But look at this book, right? Look at all the Kabbalah, Kabbalistic, Kabbalistic. You want to know what book this is? It's Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma, Ancient and Accepted Rites of Freemasonry, the Southern Jurisdiction. Right there. And it's all about the Kabbalah. Kabbalistic. You saw it for yourself. All right? Right there. All world religions begin and end in the Kabbalah. And the Kabbalah has nothing to do with the Jews, even though there are Jews, that have left their estate of Judaism and have gone into this satanic religion. But I mean, Hinduism, Buddhism, Wicca, pagan, Norse, all this different stuff that's out there, Zoroastrianism, Scientology, Thelema, all of it, just all these different branches, Mormonism, Catholicism, all of it circles back to the Kabbalah. And Albert Pike, Manly P. Hall, and even Aleister Crowley, all right, all said all world religions begin and end in the Kabbalah. And I've noticed something. Every single world religion out there hates Jesus Christ with everything that they are. All right. You go over and you start screwing around in India, and they'll kill you fast, quick, and in a hurry. Go over to Iran and start talking about Jesus in the streets. They'll kill you fast, quick, and in a hurry. We'll try that in Gaza. They'll kill you fast, quick, and in a hurry. All right. For some reason, anywhere you go and you start preaching the name of Jesus Christ, you'll be slaughtered for what you believe. Are Muslims slaughtered for what they believe? Except by their own people. I mean, the Shiites and the Sunnis, yes, they're at war with each other. But I'm talking about, are Catholics slaughtered for what they believe? Are Hindus slaughtered for what they believe? Are Buddhists slaughtered for what they believe? Absolutely not. The most persecuted people on the planet are the Jews and the Christians, bar none. Bar none. Okay? And there's a reason for that, because Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. All right? And if you want the truth, you got to come to the core of it all. You got to cut through the rotten cheese that's all over the planet. Doc Marquis told me this. He said this whole entire thing, the whole enchilada, religion, geopolitical, or geophysical, the political, and all these different factors, financial, all these different factors of the world that make the world operate the way man wants it to operate, is a giant spider web. Okay, he said there's circles, and he says there's lines, and there's a center of the web. Now, here's the thing. They want you to keep circling around, going in circles, going in circles, going in circles. But I am trying to show you the line that takes you straight to the center, and that is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is at the center of this whole entire thing, all right, when it comes to truth, okay? And I'm trying to show you how to cut straight through it and get right to the center, right to the focus, which is Jesus Christ. All right, so give your life to Jesus Christ today. Come back from the things you've been doing. Come back from it. Turn back to your first love. Come back. It says in the Bible to come back to your first works. Come back to your first love. Remember that time when you gave your life to Jesus Christ and that fire that you had instilled in you and how that fire has gone out? I'm calling today and asking people to come back into the fire, walk back into the fire with Jesus, and let it literally engulf them and change who they are from the very foundations, from their feet up to the top of their head. That's what I'm asking people today, to lean on Jesus with all you are and all your understanding. Completely give it over to him. All right? Because everything that's happening around us, you can't change it. You don't have the ability to change it. You can't stop any of this that's coming. But Jesus told you, he says, behold, I have told you before. He told you, fear not. He says he didn't give you a spirit of fear. This is nothing to be scared of. He says these things have to come to pass. They have to. Because prophecy has to be fulfilled. The things Jesus told us and warned us about all throughout the scriptures from the very beginning of the book of Genesis until the book of Revelation are going to be fulfilled. The mystery of God will be completed in its time. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to say it. Mankind needs to stop rushing God. Quit trying to push prophecy quicker than God is allowing it to happen. Because I'll tell you right now, that in and of itself is blasphemous, because people think they have the mind and the intellect to figure out God or to go above God and to go a step ahead of God. That doesn't work. And that glass doesn't hold water. I'm sorry, it's flawed. All right? So I'm telling you, everybody, all right, give everything that you are and everything that you're struggling with and all the hurt and the pain and the sorrow and all the sadness and all the brokenness, and give it over to the foot of Jesus this day. Leave it at the foot of the cross right now. And ask Jesus, Jesus, take this from me. Take this weight I've been carrying off of me, and all the fear and all the anxiety and all the sadness and all the depression and all the OCD this and all the bipolar that and all the schizophrenia this and all the depression that and the suicidal thoughts this, and take it and put it at the foot of the cross, because you weren't meant to carry those things. God didn't intend for those things to be on your shoulders. And I pray right now in Jesus' mighty name that God will bring his glory down to earth, that it will be on earth as it is in heaven in your life this day. I pray change starts this day, and that no longer are you going to be struggling the same way you've struggled. Not that you're not going to have trials, not that you're not going to have different things that are going to go on. They're going to abruptly happen to try to throw you off course. All right? But that Jesus will show you the way through it. Take his hand and walk straight through the fog. You don't know where you're going, but Jesus does. He can see a step ahead every single time. In fact, he's 100 steps ahead every single time. He knows the beginning to the end. He already knew from the time of God already knew from the beginning of creation what the end would be. And you think you can figure it out? Absolutely not. Lean upon Jesus this day and not your own intellect or man's math. Man's math isn't God's math. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. Because every time man figures out this and figures out that, they have to circle back around and say, well, my math was wrong. Of course it was, because you are a flawed creation. You didn't start off that way, but that's your state that you're in right now. And that's why we need Jesus. They're always going to say, well, my math was wrong. Shucks. They're always going to say their math is wrong. And all their doctrine is wrong. The simplicity of the gospel is the truth. If you are confused and you are struggling with all this other mumbo jumbo that all these other people are telling you to believe, come back to your first love. If you are confused about what's going on in the world, come back to your first love. If you feel your fire has gone out, come back to your first love. If you feel like you're depressed and you're stuck in this pit of mud and you're struggling and you just can't get out, come back to your first love. It's the simplicity of the gospel in Jesus Christ that is the effectiveness in which the Spirit pierces mankind. It is the gospel. It's always been about the gospel. It's always been the truth. Jesus says, all who hear truth hear my voice. And that's where it's at, folks. That's where it's at. And I gave it to you today. I lined it up, and I lined up them pins, and we knocked them down today. All right? And I'll tell you right now, God has his hand on you. He has not forgotten you. He has not forsaken you. You are not going through what you think you're going through. God is not going to allow it. He is going to have his hand upon you, and he's going to walk you through this every step of the way. All right? But in my opinion, we got a little bit yet to go, but we're real close. We are real close. All right? But I'll tell you right now, I notice, and I'm not going to say what channels, but I noticed there's so many channels really like, oh, the peace deal's here, the peace deal's there, the peace deal's over there, the peace deal's up here, the peace deal's down there. And it's like, you know what? Not every time the elite meet is it the peace deal. Not every peace treaty is the peace deal that the Antichrist is going to make a covenant with many that kicks off the Great Tribulation. Okay? I'm sorry. It just doesn't fit. It doesn't hold water. All right? But just know that I'll be honest with you. I'll give you what I pay attention to. I pay more attention to the building of the 10 kingdoms and how far along are the 10 kingdoms. And I have plenty of videos that go through the 10 kingdoms and how far along they actually are. And I think that the book of Daniel clearly tells us there's 10 little horns that represent 10 kings. They're obviously the head of 10 kingdoms. And 11th horn, the Antichrist, the little horn, comes out of the midst of those. The chaos brings about the 10 kingdoms, and out of the 10 kingdoms comes the Antichrist. And I believe it's World War III that will bring about the 10 kingdoms and the emergence of Antichrist. And we're not quite there yet, but we're really, really close. And I think 2026 is the kickoff. May God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live. Yeah.